Hey, how we doing? Welcome back to the channel. So, George Zaharoff and the House of Zaharoff. Sure, a lot of you are already familiar with the house, whether or not you've tried anything from the house. I hadn't until I got a discovery set, a bunch of samples, 13 samples to be precise, almost everything from his collection, apart from Seraphim Red, which at the time I purchased these wasn't readily available. So there's that, and I think there's a signature Royale Treble X, which I also didn't get. That wasn't available at the time. But other than that, pretty much everything else. So stick around and you'll hear my thoughts on them. So I spent at least a day with each individual one. Some got 2 wears. I've had them for a while now. Obviously, we're having so much to sample, it's just almost impossible to keep on top of your queue, shall we call it. Things join the queue, things jump the queue, new releases, etc. But I've got some test strips here. I'm going to do a fresh spray so I can experience the opening again. But I've also written down the notes from when I wore them, just so I can document my thoughts, because obviously a lot to remember. But this is my honest, unbiased opinion. I thoroughly enjoyed wearing them. Most of them were to my taste. You'll see which ones weren't. And what I will say is the whole experience of purchasing these samples and the customer service that I received from George and his team were second to none, really. It was an enjoyable experience, completely hassle-free, and credit to them, because they were like I say, hassle-free, and it was a smooth transaction. Didn't even wait that long, and it came from the States too. So I mean, up until now, there is no distribution, no official distribution in the UK. There might have been small independent small independent fragrance companies and fragrance shops that might have had stock from time to time, but there is no official retailer. There is going to be, so I believe, official European distribution starting very soon. I think in Italy, France, Spain, something like that. It escapes my mind. But yeah, so anyway, enough of that. You just want to know how they all smell, don't you? And that's what we're going to do right now. So I want to do 4 first on their own, because to me they should be reviewed separately. Now, the first one, Signature Pour Homme. Now, this is a very, I wouldn't say typical, but classical fougere barbershop scent. But it isn't just that. It's got the soapy, sort of shaving foamy lavender type of smell. But it's not dated. It's very well done. My thoughts on Signature Pour Homme while wearing were very clean and traditional type of fougere, but to the highest of quality. Not outdated at all. I get mostly lavender, pepper and woods, with the overall aromatic blanket. As it dries down, the woods become more apparent and darker and somewhat smoky. And I gave this an 8 out of 10. Full disclosure, my marking sort of approach to giving fragrances a mark, I never give a 10. I'm reserving my 10 out of 10 for the one, which I'll probably never find. Beautiful though, signature pour-on, great start to the line. You know, imagine wearing something like this to a formal event. It'd be great in the office too. Very versatile, a gentlemanly fragrance. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I felt while I was wearing it too. It wouldn't exactly be an ideal fragrance for an evening out. Well, you could wear it there, but it wouldn't be ideal for that. But George remedied that with the release of Signature Noir. Now, Signature Noir is still got the signature Homme DNA in there, but in equal measure, there's this almost, I wouldn't say shower gel in the traditional sense, you know, the blue vibe that you get, the shower jelly blue vibe from blue fragrances. It's not like that, but it's like a higher quality version of that sort of blue vibe, but it's darkened up with pepper and the aromatics. Like, I think I remember feeling like very herbaceous. My thoughts. Soapy yet smoky. The aromatics are very herbal, perhaps rosemary or basil, obvious pepper, and resinous smoky dry down. The original DNA becomes much stronger and more apparent in the deep dry down. 8 out of 10 also. Even though they've both got 8 out of 10, I think that if I owned them both, I would probably wear the Noir more often. I like them equal amounts, hence 8 out of 10. But I just think that I would reach for this more often. Probably situationally. I would reserve the pour-on for more formal occasions and, you know, probably professional settings where there's this. I think it's slightly more versatile for me, but great, absolutely great. Yeah, both of those fantastic. Now then, the other two that I felt like needed grouped in with the should we say the foundation of this entire line because of the signature DNA are Royale and Royale X. Now, the Royale is, to me, an evolution of the original pour-on in the respect that you can still smell the aromatics and the overall fougere barbershop like vibe with it, but there's been additions to it, sweet ambery additions. There's some citrus in the top. It just, I think, elevates the fragrance of the original to me. Like, in my opinion, it could be suitable for the occasions that you would wear the original, but to my taste, it's just a bit more my speed. Not to say that I wouldn't wear the other one. Obviously, I've given it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great fragrance, but I just think that the Royale speaks to me a bit more. You can tell I've been fully testing these, man. Look, I haven't just sprayed them for the first time. Ah, yeah. Really nice. Really, really nice. Fresh out the shower, no scent of the day. Do I use this? I've got some even more preferred offerings. What? So good, man. So good. Yeah. So my thoughts on this. This feels like an evolution of pour homme. It's not very similar, but the DNA appears present to me. It's richer than pour homme and not as soapy clean, and it feels more rounded and robust. It's a woody fragrance that has an almost blue feel. That may be due to juniper, but I also get a refined patchouli somewhere in the back with an almost soft leathery feel that feels fluffy and ambery. Struggle to read my own writing there. Yeah, this is lovely. Full disclosure, when I did receive all these, I stayed away from, as much as I could, I stayed away from any listed notes anywhere. So this is why what I've written down is coming across like I think it's this and that, because I wanted the whole experience to be as authentic as possible. I wanted me to try and see what I thought was in there, and there'll be a lot of listed notes that I haven't picked up, because that's just how perfumery works, you know. Things come together to make a smell, obviously, you know that. And if I was able to pick out each individual note, I would either have the best nose known to mankind, or, you know, the fragrance didn't have many notes within it. But yeah, Signature Royale is lovely, absolutely lovely. Royale X. Now, I think I prefer this even more. Another thing, you'll notice that I'm going in for a smell right away. With hardly any of these, I mean, you do if you go in right away. With every fragrance, you'll smell perfume as alcohol, but it's gone now. Like, very high quality, it's undeniable. Yeah, I do prefer Royale X as much as I like Royale. And if I had them both, I think I would probably wear Royale more often. I think it's more versatile. Whereas this is a little bit funky in a good way, musky. It's darkened up. It's a bit more manly, if you know what I mean. So good though. Sorry, I forgot to mention Royale. I give it an 8.5. My thoughts on Royale X. Ooh, musky. The citrus opening with lavender. I like this a lot for the artistry of the blend. This has taken the fougere aspects of pour homme and obviously Royale and made it rugged in its profile, but managed to round it out. The strength is there, so while being animalic, it's not obnoxious or offensive. I get almost all the aspects of the original, but this is a bit funky. If there is oud in the OG, it was clean, while this is a more obvious oud and the leather is very apparent. I might like this scent more than the original, but it isn't as versatile. I've also give it 8.5 out of 10 though. Oh, edit. The sillage is wonderful. I love it more on the second wear. I can't decide between this and the OG. And I can't. Like I've just said to you, I might actually like this scent profile more, but maybe if I had to buy one, I might buy the OG because I would wear it more often. I don't know. Probably liken it to how... I think I do prefer this. I'll probably liken it to how I prefer Leighton Exclusive to Leighton, but I actually wear Leighton more often. Like, sort of like that kind of thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely. Like, I prefer Signature Noir to Signature pour homme. And I would actually probably rather have Signature Noir, to be honest. But I think Royale and Royale X are even better than Signature Noir. And yeah, I don't know if I can decide between the two. Really, really nice. The you know, Royale has taken that traditional fougere barbershop-y kind of smell and you know, done something a bit more with it. This is my opinion anyway. And Royal X has took that and done something even more with that. So yeah, fantastic. I wanted to kind of do those 4 on their own because I felt that they were all sort of within the same sort of family, you know. Now, just like I've summarized those 4, I've chose to summarize these 3 together, and you'll see why when I get through them. Now, I'll start off with this one, and it's because it's my least favorite out of all of them. And while I can appreciate the scent, because it is really well done, it's just not to my taste at all. In fact, I feel like this is more for a woman, and it probably isn't. I have a feeling that maybe these are all intended for men, but you know, there's something in here like a really strong jasmine or something, and I don't mind white florals, but it smells nice. Like if my lady wore this, then, you know, I wouldn't say, oh, I would probably say, oh, you smell nice. But personally, I wouldn't wear this. But it just smells nice. So this is, did I even tell you what this was? Signature Bloom. Sorry. Yeah. And what I said about Signature Bloom is I appreciate the blend and profile of this fragrance. Beautiful sweet florals against bright and powdery ones. There's a green, almost flower stem type smell that is vibrant and fresh, which is more evident in the opening. This is lovely, just not to my taste, and in my opinion leans feminine. And I scored this a 7. Now, it's probably worth more than a 7. A woman might score it more than a 7. Or if it's to your taste, you might score it more than a 7. I mean, if you were to say to me, score this on your own personal taste, then it would be very low because I wouldn't wear it. But I've tried to be objective with my scoring there and give it what I feel it deserves. Yeah, lovely scent, like I say. If the missus was wearing it, I would tell her, you smell nice, but it's just not for me at all. You might be wondering why I haven't mentioned the performance on any of these, and if you're familiar with the channel, I don't often mention it anyway. What I will say is when it's at opposite extremes. Yeah, so if something is notably a weak performer, I'll think it's worth mentioning, and if something's a notably beast performer, I'll also think it's worth mentioning. Everything that, like up to now, like I had full wears of them, and they were moderate to good. You know, a good scent bubble around you, projecting within a foot or just beyond after it's calmed down a little bit. And what I will say is, with everything, the sillage is really good. You do have a good scent trail behind you. Everything that I've spoken about up till now is moderate to good performer. Definitely beyond the 6-hour mark, it's still evident coming off your skin. And I think roughly around about the 8-hour mark, it becomes a skin scent with everything I've spoken about till now. Now then, the second of the 3 that I've grouped together here is Signature Rosé. Now, a bit like Signature Bloom, it's not really my speed, but I prefer it even more than Signature Bloom. What I did say about it was, wow, lovely sweet jammy rose that remains fresh and light. Beautiful scent that I really enjoy, but would prefer to smell it on my lady. 8 out of 10. There's also a powder, excuse me. There's also a powderiness to this with a soft edge, but slightly smoky dry down. What I did get from this, and I don't know if those of you that have smelled this agree with me, but it's really, I can't stop smelling it. It is really nice. Almost like, not completely, but just a little bit of like Delina vibes from Parfums de Marly. Just a little bit. Beautiful smell though. Really, really nice. Do you know what? I can see how men would wear this. But I can't. I'm not. It's not completely feminine at all. But I think it's maybe a little bit too femme for me. Lovely though. Now then, this one took me by surprise, grabbed my balls, twisted them in a knot, and then booted me to the curb. Honestly, man, like, here we go. For a rose fragrance, like a predominantly rose fragrance, this is so surprising. Like, I've got fragrances that have got rose in them. I've got a lot of oud rose fragrances that I love, but with those, the rose is counterbalanced with a lot of either leather and oud and animalic facets and smoky facets, and a lot of them. So, and usually, well, not usually, but sometimes there's some saffron in there that it just, you know what I mean? It all comes together to that typical Arabian sort of, you know, rose and oud, which I like. But this isn't like that at all. It's almost as if there's every facet imaginable of rose. You're green, you're fresh, you're sweet and jammy and powdery all together. And they're encompassed by something dark that's enveloping the whole thing. And it just smells fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And my thoughts on signature black rose halfeti. Rose, but not sweet and jammy. Not exclusively sweet and jammy anyway. This comes across like rose in Arabian fragrances, but cleaner, as if refined or distilled. It seems to be every facet of rose imaginable in this composition, and the darkness is more apparent as it dries, and it feels like there's a few notes contributing to this. Even the greenness here is dark, as if mossy. There is a sweetness in this that I feel isn't the rose, and I'm feeling it might be amber or something of that nature. The darkness is fortified by smokiness that may be from incense, and its resinous in the base. This composition is a complete work of art. 9 out of 10. I do like it a hell of a lot, and it's so surprising as well. This is the thing that surprised me the most. I didn't expect to... I expect to appreciate it, but I didn't expect to love it like this. Really, really, really good. Now then, I've chosen to group another 3 fragrances here because out of everything that's on offer, I would consider these the fresher offerings, the things that may be more suitable for the warmer weather. And I'll start off with the one that I feel is probably the most suitable, well, tied with the next one, but this one I think would benefit the most from the warmer weather, although it could be worn in slightly cooler weather. Here we have Zaharoff Signature Citrine. I was really excited to try this because I know how well it's received among certain reviewers, and I was not disappointed. I'm just a bit let down by the fact that I didn't wear it in hot weather because the winter is coming. The summer that we had in the UK this year was absolutely pitiful. But that's good, that though, you know. Some really, really bright citruses off the top there. And they're working harmoniously with some white florals to give this really crisp and clean sort of brightness. Quite elegant as well, not just a freshie. It's not a strict freshie, it's more than that. Really, really nice. And my thoughts on Signature Citrine. Again, moderate to good performer. Did, you know, radiate surprisingly well, despite the lack of heat in the environment that I was wearing it. But I honestly would put my left bollock on the fact that this would be stone cold killer in high heat. I can imagine it radiating repeatedly off the skin. But anyway, my thoughts on Signature Citrine. Opens up with a fresh, sweet and somewhat icy citrus accord. After a while, white florals and aromatics turn up and there's some greenness. And then the citruses from the opening lose most of their sweetness. A well-balanced, fresh, somewhat sweet aromatic fragrance with clean white florals. 8 out of 10. It is beautiful, honestly. Really, really nice. It's just a shame I don't have 13 arms, because I would have put everything on skin. Yeah, I held off on putting Royale on there as my scent of the day. I think I've already decided what I'm going to be wearing. Scent of the evening now, anyway. Yeah. Let's do this one next. Coco Loco. I'm trying to work through this as fast as I possibly can, but with 13 fragrances, it's not easy. I'll try and cut some out in the edit. It's like, I mean, initially, it's like someone's just threw some sort of tropical cocktail in your face. Coconut, like pineapple, citruses. It smells a bit blue as well. It's really, really good. Although at the beginning, I will say that when I first smelled it, I was like, "Ooh," you know, it smelled a bit. No, I wouldn't say much, but like volume 11. You know what I mean? But it didn't last long, and then it became, like, within 10 minutes, it became something that was more than wearable. So these are my thoughts on Coco Loco. I loved how this opened up with citrus and pineapple. I get a coconut vibe, but not sure if it's actually in there. I say this because honestly, I would need about 5 hands to count how many times I've smelled a fragrance and be like, yeah, coconut. And then I see the note breakdown, it's not even listed. There must be some combination of things in certain fragrances that just make me think of coconut. But I'm damn sure it's in this one. Yeah, I loved how this opened up with the citrus and the pineapple. I get a coconut vibe, but not sure if it's actually in there. While I loved the opening, I wasn't sure if I wanted to smell like it. Yeah, that is what I was referring to. However, as it dries, the balancing act takes place and this baby starts to shine. All of the notes come together harmoniously to create this ozonic, solar, fruity, woody scent that's a great wear. 8.5 out of 10. Stand by all of that. Yeah, really, really nice. I think that this is just tropical holiday. Just Coco Loco is just a really, really apt and well-fitting name for it. Lovely. And I seen the bottle as well. My friend Darren Ford on the groups has got one. He looks really funky. Yeah, fantastic. Now the final one that I decided to group in with the freshies was one of the most anticipated because it's a recent release. I'm sure you know by now if you follow the activity of the House of Zaharoff, which one I'm referring to. Seraphim Blue. Now, for full transparency, because it's a recent release, it wasn't that long ago that I was actually looking up the notes on this, and I was already aware of quite a few of them. So I think it wasn't as much of a discovery as the other ones. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I actually wrote it down as well. Full disclosure, because this is a recent release, I knew more about this composition than the others. I tried to go at this with a blank mind and ignore the hype. However, the hype is real. This stuff is absolutely lovely. I mean, really, really nice. And it is. Although I'll never buy it. Those of you who watched a few of my videos will know about my missus and her almost disdain for certain types of aquatics and marine notes, because she said they remind her of a fish tank. And unfortunately, this one did the same thing. I used to have Aaron Terence Hughes Blue Fever. Loved it. I got it in a haul from eBay, and I think I wore it once and I sold it on. And this is what I mean by I never buy this, because it was the same thing with that. Like, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Here, babe, smell that. And like, she looked at me and like, get outside, boy, before I hose you down. So as much as I love this, I'm never going to have to buy it. Lovely though, such a shame. Yeah, the aquatics in this are just how I like them. Mineralic, salty, fresh and alive. I get the tropical brew freshness with the coconut and florals that, in my opinion, blend great with the apple and lavender at the top. I don't really pick up the iris others have mentioned. If it wasn't for the fact that my missus recoils at marine accords done this way, I'd bag a bottle. 9 out of 10. I stand by the 9 out of 10. Unfortunately, I stand by the statement that I'll never actually buy it. Yeah, but lovely. Absolutely lovely. So those were the three what I would call fresh offerings from the house. Now we get down to my favourite three, and just like depending on what mood you're in, you know, say your favourite foods are paella, curry, and pizza. And depending on what mood you're in, you'd say today my favourite food is pizza, because that's what I've chose to. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just can't. You like them equally as much. Now, I think this is true for these three fragrances and my preferences also. I might have scored them when I wore them, you know, 2 better than the other one, but I don't know if that's even strictly true. Like I say, just depending on what mood I'm in. I do know that one of them is less versatile than the other 2, but that's only because of people, civilians, because I don't think it'll appeal that much to them. So, you know, if you care about that kind of thing, then even if you like it, you might find it not as versatile. I don't care about that kind of thing, so people will be smelling it whether they like it or not. Sorry, but it's true. Yeah, so we'll start off with you, sir. Signature Aurum. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a private moment. Wow. This is the only other times I've smelled honey as realistic as this has been honey. Oh my god. Honestly, like, it's not very often I'm lost for words, but I'm tripping up over my own tongue here because I really don't know what to say. Other than wow. Absolutely wow. Oh god, I love it. I can't stop smelling it. My thoughts that I've written down are, in capital letters, honey with 5 exclamation marks. The most photorealistic honey I've ever smelled. Like the golden organic yellow set honey from bees that have been pollinating on orange blossom and lavender. Like I must have been in one of those moods that evening. Trying to be all professional and artistic. When it starts to dry down, I get an almost boozy vibe and a somewhat toffee/caramel nuance. I think there might be some pepper and other spices in here, rounding out the sweetness, and perhaps a soft creamy wood like sandalwood or something else. 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm not getting the I'm just getting mostly honey here at the minute, but you do experience everything else I mentioned there in the wear. Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Tabac. You have another private moment, please? Oh, I mean, I love a tobacco fragrance, but what this seems to have done, I mean, I've got dry golden leaf tobacco, I've got smoky ashy tobacco, and I've got damp sort of cherry pipe tobacco fragrances. I might have some that have facets of 2 of those things, but I don't have a single one that's got facets of all 3, and this is how I interpret this. And it's done so much better on skin as well. There's like a little bit of, I mean, more than a little bit anyways, there's sweetness, like a plummy kind of sweetness. Cognac, something like that, you know. Wow. My thoughts on Signature Tabac. Great performer, so I've gone out of my way to say that it's a great performer. Firstly, boozy. Yeah, so that's the cognac. See how different on skin's here. Firstly, boozy, fruity, and sweet up top, with sweet tobacco leaf and a smokiness too. Sorry. Just like with halfeti rose having multiple facets of rose, this has multiple facets of tobacco. The smokiness possibly coming from incense, and it's aromatic also, and there's a greenness in the mid. There's a resinous base wrapped up in a creaminess from vanilla and possibly honey. I love this a lot. Wow. 9.75 out of 10. Must say as well with this one, like I got it on my clothes, and the next day you'd think I'd just sprayed them. Oh god, can't stop smelling it. I'm gonna have to though, so move on to the last one. Wow. So here we have Signature Leather Tabac. This is the one that I said wasn't as versatile as the other 2. Oh, what? I love leather. I love tobacco. Absolutely love this. It's not for some people, but it's definitely for me. Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Smoky tobacco, slightly animalic leather, but not rough. Soft, like a soft, fluffy suede type of leather, but ramped up. There's sweetness in the air as well. It's just, oh, there's some like resinous, and that's just so good, man. It's just so good. So my thoughts on leather tobacco. Excuse the language. Holy fucking shitballs. I thought aurum and tabac were the pinnacle of the darker and richer offerings from this line. This shit is amazing. It's everything you'd think it would be with the tobacco from the tabac. But the leather done here might be one of the best things I've smelled. Right as well, like. Oh man. The balance of sweet, soft, and yet rough, slightly animalic is fantastic. I love it. There's what's not to love here. There's definitely cumin, oud, and some resin, and something giving it sweetness. This is on par with aurum and tabac for me, although I wouldn't reach for this as much. More spices become... I wouldn't reach for this as much. More spices become apparent as it dries down, and there's a greenness throughout. 9.75 out of 10. Yeah. Bravo. Bravo, Claude. Bravo, George. I'm really sorry that this has taken an extraordinary amount of time, but 13 fragrances in 50 minutes. So it's like, and I did waffle a bit. I'll chop it down in the edit, but as much as I can anyway. Yeah, it was an experience. What 2 weeks. And even the ones that I didn't love as much as the three I've just mentioned, I mean, don't get me wrong, Royale and Royale X were very close to those three in terms of how much they spoke to me as a person, and they would be my top 5. You know, if you put a gun in my head and said choose 5, they would be my top 5. But you know, Coco Loco as well, like, yeah. Yeah, great, absolutely great. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for the opportunity, for allowing me to smell these, the people of Zaharoff. Like I say, the transaction was seamless. The people there, the team are great. I didn't have to wait that long coming from the States either. So if you want to do what I've just done, just jump on the Zaharoff website. I'm not sure when the EU distribution's coming live, but I'm sure it's sometime soon. But yeah, so thanks for sticking with me till the end, because this has been a long one. And yeah, like I say all the time, if you're liking what you see with the channel, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also hit the bell so YouTube tells you next time I upload some nonsense. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you again soon.